He teaches at Howard.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What, teaching this radio stuff?
Shane, what do you teach?
Nice. My daughter just, she just did a voiceover for like a podcast thing. So we need to figure out how to get her a little setup. She wants to do more of this stuff.
Which one? Which daughter?
My oldest daughter, Ava.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is so cool.
Yeah, they're getting so big doing all their own stuff.
That is amazing. Mm-hmm. You look too young. Mm-hmm. Keep it.
Hopefully it's
Shane, do I look okay?
You look great.
You never know who may be watching. I may get a man.
Hey, you never know. So this comes on live?
No, it's taped. Okay. Yeah.
Hey.
I'm ready.
All right.
Huh? Okay. I am so excited to be sitting here with my baby, my nephew, my everything, my colleague, my pro advocate, I just love this guy.
Thank
you. He is one of the top movers and shakers in the entire industry and has been for a while. He's been on the show before. So if you want to find out a lot more about him, I'm going to give you his name in a minute. Just go back and to Cannabis Conversations. Can we cut that out? Cannabis Conversations podcast with Linda Mercado Green and look up Tahir Johnson.
That was an amazing introduction coming from you. Love you. So good to be home and back on the show, too.
Yeah, and I'm happy to have you back on the show because so much has happened since you were initially on the show. And it's been a long path for you, but you made it. You finally made it.
Yeah,
and I can't begin to tell you how proud I am.
Thank you.
So tell the listening audience all the good news that I'm talking about.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Tahir Johnson. I am the founder and CEO of Simply Pure Trenton. We're an adult use dispensary that will be opening very, very soon in my hometown of Trenton, New Jersey. And like Linda said, it's been a long journey to get in here. Man, it's been almost 2 years this path to opening the dispensary, but even more time towards that, working towards it, making my path in the industry. And I gotta say, I'm so thankful for people like you that have always helped to not only blaze the path, but show me so much love and share education and just everything and give me opportunities to continue to learn and level up throughout the way, because I give that all my credit for being here. So I'm thankful for you.
If you could see me, well, you probably can, some of you can, I am beaming with joy. Mm-hmm. From the moment I met Tahir, I adopted him.
Yep. No.
I literally adopted him.
That's over 5 years ago.
That's right. That is right. It was over 5 years ago. So tell us how you got in the cannabis industry and tell us more about Simply Pure Trenton.
Yes. So I've been in the cannabis industry now for 5 years. Actually, the end of 2018 was when I first started looking at the industry, and I previously worked in finance.
He's brilliant, y'all.
No.
This guy's background is unbelievable.
Yeah, so I was working in wealth management in the investment world, and as I was reading about cannabis, I found out about our good friend Hope Wiseman. And with her having a background in finance also, it kind of helped me to understand how I could use that as my pathway to getting into the industry. And one of the biggest problems then and still now in cannabis is access to capital.
You better believe
banking, finance, man. And Lord knows I know about it more now than I even used to talk about it. Because the whole conversation there, we could talk about 280E and the financial impacts. But when I found out about how much that impacted cannabis, I really wanted to get the industry. I wanted to get in and make a difference, especially for our people, for black folks to be able to get in the industry, because I mean, without money you can't do anything. And more so, even more so compounded in this industry when there's only access to, there's no banking, right? So you can only do it with private equity, or if you got the personal wealth yourself, or things like that. So I wanted to try to impact that.
And that's far and few between for us people of color.
Man, if you don't, most of us don't have anybody in our network that we can go to for that type of money.
And even if we do, like I had those type of people in my network, and I went to them all, and not one of them would back me.
Well, and what I found is, like you said, even when you have them in your network and you find them to back you, then it's still a tough deal. Then you got to talk the language. You have to be able to win somebody's confidence in giving you that type of money.
Yep.
Like we're talking about $1 million or more, right? To get from somebody. So to be able to confidently do that takes a lot of work.
Sign your life over.
Oh man, literally,
to get it.
Literally.
You sign everything over.
That's why I say so much now. I know the conversations we would always have in the past, but now everything is so much clearer. I could know what you were talking about and what you were saying as I'm actually kind of going through and living it now. So
Tahir is actually one of the most sought after panelists, moderators in the industry. He has his own podcast too. You still have that, right? Yeah. So and we'll talk about that.
Yes.
But it's different, and I have always said we have a lot of legislators and a lot of people speaking on our behalf. They feel the passion that we have, but it's not until you actually get in it that you truly know what it's like.
And the other thing I'll tell you, even like me, thinking of myself, right? People that are advocates, because me, right? I've been a cannabis advocate for the past 5 years, but I didn't own a cannabis business, right? So even that perspective of you have meaning things, like you want to talk about social equity, all this stuff, it's a whole different hat, right? When you're wearing when you're actually wearing your business owner hat, when you have to make payroll, when you have to figure out how to this construction project, like all the expenses, right? Like when I was just looking at kind of our budget and our financial plans, like what we would expect to make, and then how much of that would go out the door. It was the most frustrating thing
It's
ever.
really frustrating.
Yeah.
And things like the insurances that we must carry, like the liability insurance and all the various insurance policies that we have to carry because we're still federally illegal. But they charge 3, 4, 5 times more than any normal business would be charged.
Everything along the way, not even just that it has cost more than you would expect. And then when people find out that you're cannabis, they try to charge you even more, because the people on the outside looking in think, oh, these cannabis businesses have all these money, but it's such a struggle.
Not true.
It's so tight.
It's not true. And I'm hoping that we can get this big legislation passed, or get us descheduled or rescheduled and get safer banking, but also I'm hoping that we could get rid of 280E. If we could get rid of 280E, that helps us survive.
Absolutely. That makes a big difference. And, like you said, I think that is one of the biggest potential benefits of this conversation that we're having around rescheduling right now. A lot of people have been, I've heard so many different opinions on it, but again, when you put your business owner hat on, the idea that you remove that, and at the same time, it gives them the opportunity to research. I think cannabis being completely descheduled or legalized today isn't necessarily realistic. So this puts a path in place for that to happen. And at the same time, like you said, if we get rid of 280E, that would help businesses survive. A lot of people talk about what it would do for the big businesses, but a small black-owned businesses like ours, every penny counts.
Every penny counts. I have not seen 1 penny of profit in 5 years.
So crazy.
It is absolutely crazy.
And what you're saying is not, that's the experience of everybody in the industry. When I talk to people that are business owners,
And I just in D.C. we have a double whammy that New Jersey and Colorado and California and the other states as a licensee, because D.C.'s unique relationship and status of us being a district and not a state. We have to pay 280E to our city as well. So we have a double.
'cause it's like federal.
It's double whammy. So how can you make a profit? And how can you grow? How can you survive?
Yeah, thankfully,
That's
like
why
you said.
statehood is really important.
Yeah.
But also, if once the federal government gets rid of it, then we are good to go in D.C.
Right, and yeah, like you said, in New Jersey, the state decoupled from 280E on the state level, so we won't have to pay like the 280E tax there. So hopefully that'll be a big benefit for us. And like you said, something happens at the federal level, banking or rescheduling or something, because going into it, that's probably the most disheartening thing, to think that you're going to have a business and be successful. And everybody uses the term generational wealth and whatnot, but it's not just like anything in business, right? It's not just what you make; it's what you keep.
Right.
And if it's going out, all the expenses that it costs, you're having to pay employees
And credentialing expenses and all of that.
So much stuff.
Yeah.
The different technologies, the softwares,
Yes.
like all the different systems and programs that you have to run the business, all that stuff adds up. It is
The product.
Oh, we didn't even talk about buying the product yet, right?
The product. Are you vertical?
No, just the retail.
Yeah.
I do want to apply for some other licenses. But trying to figure out, like, what I've decided now is I need to be successful and do this first before I do everything else, because
You're talking my language.
I'll tell you the other, and I think really one of the things that I've appreciated having like our relationship over these past couple of years is because I've actually seen up close like what it's like, what the life of a dispensary owner is like. And even though I know other people that have dispensaries, it's probably you that I've spent the most time with, like actually being there with, right? And
He's gonna make me cry.
No, but I know how much of a time commitment it is, like literally, and it's been the same way for me. Like I know, like Anacostia Organics is like your whole life,
It
right?
is
Like
my
everything.
entire life.
If I know, like if I were to come here on any day and be like, "Where's Linda?" I could probably show up there, and you might be there.
I'm there every day.
So because
I'm there every day that I'm in town.
and it's because you have.
And the only time I'm out of town is to speak at a conference.
Exactly.
I haven't even been to see my family but once in 5 years.
Man, and now, like I said, my life has become that same way, especially since like my immediate family, my kids, everybody, they're all still here, and I'm back home in New Jersey. So like I barely see them because I'm gone all the time. Like it's such a time commitment and a sacrifice that you have to make to do this business, and I see it all now.
You're so much younger. You got energy and everything to do it. I'm like, I'm too old for this now.
Running up and down the highway, like I literally had to, like I went down 95 because we had an inspection yesterday, then came back here today. It's not for the faint of heart.
So when do you plan to open?
So right now I'm
because
planning to open.
I thought you were open, and I've been, I've been giving people the information.
From all the news articles. So we initially were planning to open up this summer, but one of the things that I learned what actually caused the delay, it wasn't the cannabis stuff at all, was construction. And so what I've learned about that process, what it takes to get the permit approvals, everything like that, it was really tough. We had my town actually stopped our work for 5 months.
Oh my heavens!
So I was just shut down, sitting there waiting every day. We kept resubmitting our architecture and engineering plans, and they kept failing us and failing us and failing us. And then after 5 months and probably like 10 rounds of submitting, they finally approved it, because it's interesting the way it works with construction. Like they'll give you all the comments and they'll pass it, and then after they pass all that stuff, they'll find something else that was wrong.
Yeah,
and fail
they sure will.
That. So
has the community embraced you?
Oh man, that really has been probably I think the biggest thing that's helped me to stay motivated, especially because, being back home in Trenton, I've been going there for over 20 years, and now seeing somebody that is from, like, not even just New Jersey in general, all across the state, I've gotten so much love. Even got a shout out from the governor. Like, he did a video and sent his media team out to support us. So, like, both from, I think people actually in the community, legislators, like everybody's really been showing us a lot of love. And because I think people can identify with it, like getting to see a regular person doing this. And I think with me, I think it's also like an example of like the hard work that goes into it, because people can see my journey and everything I've had to do to get here. Mm-hmm.
That's right. And it's different from a multi-state operator opening. And there's so few of us still today, people of color, that have their own license.
Yep.
And speaking of which, our sister Shanae Bullock is opening up her dispensary in Southampton today. Of the Shinnecock tribe.
They're opening today?
They're having a grand opening today. It's called Little Harvest something. I'm sorry, you all. I had it, but
I don't know the name, but that's amazing.
Yes.
That is.
Yes, so she will be the first Native American to open a dispensary.
That is amazing.
And on their land. So it's a big, big thing.
Yep. And you're the third black dispensary owner in the country?
That's what I've been told by the University of Maryland students. So I know Wanda was the first, I think, and then Shonda Macias. And
then both of y'all right
I know
here in
I'm in the
DC.
top 5.
Yeah.
But I've been told that it was 3.
And I think you said that number because I know, like, so I'm curious, like, what is, and what a question from me, I know you're doing an interview, but
No.
what
This is
leads
great to have a professional podcaster.
Yeah, like, what do you think has led to the longevity, right? Because I'm sitting here and I know how hard it is even just getting to day one, and now here you are, like, years in the game, and I really want to be where you are.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Wanda, I would see her at conferences, and she'd come in and do her panel or whatever she was going to do. She had her little roller case and on her way back to the airport.
Yeah.
And I would say, Wanda, don't you want to stay? And, you're going. She said, girl, if you are serious about your business, you're going to be in there every day. And that sticks in my mind. And but every day, I mean, I'm there every day. I'm in the community that I live. So I had full support of my community in Ward 8, which nobody thought would happen.
Yep.
I hire people. My staff are from Ward 8, Ward 7, but definitely D.C. residents.
Yep.
But the majority live in Ward 8 because I'm trying to give them the opportunity to learn this industry so at some point they could take their wings and fly. Or as I expand, which I want to do, eventually they will be running the operation for the expansion. So I think, just being sincere, being in your community, bringing quality, lab-tested cannabis to the community. I have a lot of seniors and a lot of people coming in saying, thank you for doing this. I mean, every day they say, thank you for doing this. I don't have to hide in an alley. But being an advocate for others to enter. As you know, D.C. has reopened the licensing process for the unlicensed businesses to enter the market legally. And I've told the city, send them to me so that I can tell them what to expect. I can show them the business. And because nobody did that for me. And I went in it blindly. But I've been sitting with a lot of the prospective licensees and just giving them advice, telling them everything I know about the operations and sharing that with them. Some of them I've written letters of endorsement because you go in it blindly.
Yeah,
And once that license is in your name, Tahir, you know as well as I do, it affects your credit.
absolutely,
It
absolutely.
affects your
No,
credit because we are now drug lords and money launderers in the federal government's eyes.
it affects everything, And I've been trying to figure that out. It's like, I mean, I'm like, how do you get it? Like, I know I already think, God, I have my house and stuff like that already.
Exactly.
But even as I've been thinking about like having to get a place to stay in New Jersey and things like that, I've been trying to figure out like, how do I even do that?
Well, that once we get rid of 280E, once we get it descheduled or rescheduled, that we're no longer
Right.
in that category, so that will open up.
Yep. But you're so right about that mentorship means so much. And that's really what I've gotten the most out of having a relationship with Wanda.
And I want to
Simply
acknowledge
Pure.
you for something that you started at my dispensary.
What's that?
And I want to thank you. The first HBCU graduate round of hiring.
Oh, man.
You remember?
No, yes, I'm
Yes,
glad.
yes.
And having HBCU people, like, that's always been something I've been passionate about. And, that was my, like, kind of angle to get into the industry. Because, for us Howard people love Howard. And but just all of us, our HBCUs, there's such a wealth of knowledge and skill.
Yes.
And just black excellence and, like, there. So I think tapping into that helps to grow the network, grow the industry. And then like that model of mentorship, right? Like you said, our HBCU students having the opportunity to come work under somebody like you and being in DC, again, it makes all the difference in the world of who can be successful and actually stay in the industry.
If we could only get our HBCUs to embrace cannabis education,
that part.
I still don't get it. And particularly, agriculture is agriculture, right? And I've been, trying to get them to embrace it. Thank goodness UDC has a new president who is from Florida, I believe, or somewhere in the South. But anyway, he had it as a curriculum. I think he was his school was the first one under his leadership, and so we're going to start conversation together about having that as a curriculum for University of District of Columbia.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference. And like you said, it really is interesting that these schools don't take a more receptive approach to it, because I think this is like the careers of the future that they could be preparing people for. And like when I was starting the internship program, when we were approaching different universities or just educational institutions, they were really nervous about dealing with cannabis. I know some of that's because like the federal funding and things like that.
Their grants and everything. Yeah, the funding.
Right.
Yeah.
But other universities are finding out ways to do it, right?
Exactly.
So I think it's a huge opportunity.
How is Wanda? That's
She's
my
good.
girl.
Yeah, she just I just had her come to New Jersey for the first time a couple weeks ago. So it was amazing getting to have people in New Jersey introduce them to the Simply Pure brand on a national level. And then I think one of the things we did was had a town hall, because there are so many people that want to be in the industry and learn. So I think just having that opportunity from having a veteran, somebody that's been in the industry for 10 years.
And a veteran.
Yeah, and like literally a veteran.
Literally
right?
a veteran.
Get to come and share that experience. People were just hungry and thankful to hear that knowledge, and having the support. Having somebody to tell me, give me the mentorship along the way, different stuff. I think all the way back to a year ago, and we were talking about the time, understanding the time that it takes to do stuff, the cost. I swear I was going to be the first person to open a dispensary on time and under budget. And she's like, "You'll see."
You'll see.
And then here we are a year later and still working
In
at
DC,
it. So
they gave us once I got the license, I had 120 days to open. I got one extension, but the extension was just for 60 days. So, my contractors were, in there 24/7 trying to make it, because you put so much into getting the license. You don't want it. First of all, you don't want to start out with fines.
Yeah.
And you don't want to lose it.
Not at all. Yeah, we have, since I got my annual license in April, I have until, I believe, till the end of February before I would have to look at it. I'm sorry, the end of March before I would have to look at an extension. But hopefully, I get open before then.
I hope
If
so.
everything goes right with the construction, we'll be open in January. And so
I think we're just going to speak it into existence.
yeah. Like I said, and this is actually when they come for their first construction inspection on Friday, that's when I'll really know if everything's going to continue to be on track. So send some prayers up for me on that.
But everything that you're going through now paves the way for many more expansions. And I'm just so proud of Simply Pure franchising. And you're the first franchisee, right?
I am.
It's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, and that was something that that I think looking at it from both sides, like I know Wanda always, I think like most of us have idea, want to be able to expand the brand and go out there. But I think one of the things that's challenging, especially when you just look at the industry as like a small black-owned dispensary, all the challenges it takes to just run your own one store, let alone adding on another one. I think one of the good things about our relationship was that I was a good partner to help build it with along the way because, from an infrastructure standpoint, they might not have, she can't give me all the same type of support like a bigger, larger company would have, but I don't necessarily need it also. And at the same time, we're growing it together. And it's the most important thing is that the brand is something that I believe in and something that I trust. And like you said, this shows a blueprint, if you will, for us to be able to collaborate and, more people to be able to do it together. And that was really the intention of it. Because I think a lot of people would say, hey, like, Tahir, you've been around the industry. Like, why didn't you just start your own thing? And for me, it was about that bigger picture and that showing black people collaborating and working together and that we could be successful.
As always, you do it the right way.
Thank you.
That's the way to do it.
Yep.
And, if I had that opportunity when nobody was even looking at it. Because I started, I started looking into this business in 2013, 2014. And, so... and didn't get to apply until 2017 because they had to get the laws changed.
Yeah.
And then, awarded in 2018.
Yeah.
But I want to talk a little bit about social equity because that's a big thing. In my opinion, is almost every city, every state has set it up for failure.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I do. And I think that now some of these newer states have had much better situations. I'll take New Jersey, for example. The fact that you could get into the process a lot easier has certainly made it like early level of success. But I think some of the problems are, for example, like in New Jersey, you can get a conditional license, right, without having a property or money. But the reality
is... That's what they're doing here now, but they give you, I think it's a year.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to say. The reality is, and I think what I've learned in my situation is, even if they give you a conditional license and you have a year to get all the other stuff, if you don't really have the resources or the proper people or things, there's not the reality of that conditional license ever becoming an annual license is very slim.
It's very slim.
Because you still have to get the money.
Yeah.
You still have to.
You have to get your space.
Still have to get a space. You have to get local approval from whatever town you're going to be in.
Right. And your community.
Yeah, and so like in a place like New Jersey, 90% of the towns opted out. So now you have literally hundreds, if not thousands, of people vying for very few opportunities.
My goodness.
And so. That's probably, I think that's one of the things I see as the biggest challenge of it. It's like if you don't, like you have to really solve the problem like by just kind of easing it doesn't necessarily fix it, right? So I think when you do it this way, you'll have certain people like me. Certainly, I was a beneficiary of that because I was able to navigate it using my background and tools and relationships that I had to be successful.
Right.
But other people, it still doesn't make it easier.
Right.
And so I think where the change is really going to happen is like you said, when things change at the federal level, because again, 280E, access to banking. Those are things that would really make a meaningful difference in people being able to get in the industry. Because if I could have a strong business plan or operational plan and go into a bank and have somebody support me and didn't have to,
or SBA loans.
Yeah,
I mean,
SBA loan.
that type of thing. Yeah.
No, and I think that's actually the perfect solution. Like all those types of resources that already exist to help small business owners, we don't have access to.
Don't have to be recreated. But this has gone by too fast.
Yeah.
And I know you will be back. And even, we could do it from your dispensary.
Yeah, gotta have you come up and visit.
I'm coming for the grand opening.
New Jersey for sure.
I'm coming. Get my spot. I'm going to be right there on the front row. I'm going to be right there. But if people want to reach you, you still have your podcast. So what is that?
Yes. So you can follow me and listen to the podcast. The podcast is called the Cannabis Diversity Report. We'll be getting ready to release some new episodes soon. Actually recording live from MJ Biz at the end of the month. But there's plenty of plenty of past episodes you can listen to to get some good content. And personally, you can find me. Again, my name is Tahir Johnson. So by my name on LinkedIn and Todd Diddy on platforms. But please look up Simply Pure. And that is we're Simply Pure Trenton. That's simplypuretrenton.com. And we're on it's Simply Pure Trenton on Instagram, all the social media platforms. And you Google us, we won't be too hard to find. So.
Thank you so much, my darling. I really appreciate it, and I will have you back very soon.
Anytime.
And I love you with all my heart.
Yes, and I love you back more.
Thank you.
Yes.
That was great.